Righto, welcome back to the channel. Now, behind me, I've got a finished chassis in this garage door. I can't open it as of now because you haven't seen what's coming up. So in this episode, we get the chassis somewhat finished, and without further ado, I'll let you get into it. Like, comment, subscribe, and you'll see some magic happen. Alright, so the chassis is back in its home. It's back inside the garage because it is finally time to get this thing back together. That's right, we'll slowly start putting everything back together and get it to its former glory. So we'll start by getting all the bushes on this rear diff and rear springs, and we'll get this thing, hopefully we'll get both diffs on today maybe. Alright, so we've got all bushes in, and top bushes and the spring hangers. So now for the rear, it's just really, we just got to lift up the diff to meet these, or drop down the chassis, which I think is what we'll do. And then that should be the rear part of the rear diff on, and then we just do the front, which is an easy task in itself. We did put the pins in, so that's nice there. I've kept it symmetrical with the knobs facing out, but yeah, let's get the diff in. There we have it. That is one LJ50 chassis sitting on its diffs, once again reunited with its diffs, looking schmick as always. I'm freaking stoked how the gloss sort of contrasts with the matte of the chassis and then the matte of the springs. Twas a bit of a battle, well, more really just with these ones in here. It was a bit hard to get in. You can see some hammer marks which we'll probably have to touch up. The front went in a lot easier. So what we've got here is, of course, new hangers, new bolts for the hangers. I sort of sheared that one a tiny bit. Same on this side. So new bolts, new bushes, new sleeves inside the bushes there. It's just, you know, we have that peace of mind when we're on the trail in the middle of nowhere that our bushes aren't going to stuff us over. So now we're going to get our lovely brake drums and start getting some extra contrast between that silver and the black. Now, one thing you may be asking is, why would you go silver brake drums? Well, it's a bit of a homage to sort of the old Porsche race cars, like 356s, stuff like that. So we thought we'd paint them silver, and hopefully they'll look pretty cool. After the drums go on, we'll get fuel and brake line hard lines in, which are also painted in a nice silver. And yeah, we'll get this thing looking schmick. Might even get it on its wheels. Alright, so there we have it. That's all for today. But drums are on, looking schmick. They do look pretty good with that silver on black. Same with the lines, looking nice and clean. I quite like that. Just did a quick test fit with the tank. Don't know why, but we did it. So for tomorrow, we got all this grand looking stuff, and if we come over here, we got this lovely thing to come back on, and then we got four barely driven on Kinder Clever RTs that I'm sure would love to go back on here, and we'll sit it on the ground finally after a bit too long. And yeah, I'm beyond stoked with this. Looks so good. Like, yeah, very inspiring. Just everything, just neato, as they like to say. Yeah, that's it for today. We'll come back tomorrow. All right, it's back on the POV cam because we're gonna get the transfer case in. Before we do that, I will quickly show you. We just got this nice little thing here put in with some nice zinc coated gold bolts. That is right, we're full straight pimping with the gold bolts. Because I had to charge my GoPro, we just got the exhaust painted. We've done it in a potbelly black color, so it's heat resistant. Again, it helps with that contrast with the chassis because we got the matte black, then the gloss black, and then the potbelly black, and just sort of sets everything off nice. But yeah, this is looking nice with its gold, so don't know why I got a 10mm with me, but we'll get this thing on. We've got all our mounts there. Alright, so the GoPro cut out on me, which kind of sucks. Let me just get a rag. But that's what she looks like on the car. Let's get that dust off there. It sits on the car, looks good. Silver on black. That's how we like it. Ooh, purple. I'll probably put drive shafts in next. Alright, so we're back on the head cam, and now we're going to put the drive shafts in. So I just put them up next to each other to measure the lengths. Longer one goes at the front, shorter one goes at the rear, where they come apart. We did re-grease in here. Where they come apart goes towards the transfer case. So it's just a simple thing of plonking them in like that. So I'll just get to doing that now. That should be, again, another simple task. And Alright, so slight change of plans. The engine and gearbox most likely will be going on today if we can find the gearbox mounts. Wait, no, I think we found them. Never mind. So yeah, that'll be good to have these two going in. Just putting the engine bracket thingamabob on, which will then go to the engine mounts, which are these two. Again, keeping factory mounts because we can. Alright, so I'll just go through a quick end of day recap to see what we've done today. And show you how far we've come in, like 2 days. Now we just had a mishap with gearbox mounts. We didn't know where they were for a while, and then found them and realized that we didn't paint them. So we just quickly painted them up there, wire brushed and painted. So that's why the engine and gearbox will go in tomorrow. Then I put this plate on at the front here. Not that, sorry, but this, with some nice gold zinc coated bolts. I think they look very snazzy, and I hope you do too. Steering box is in, so you can see we don't have the steering assembly as of now. It's in Oakley right now, I think. Brakes, transfer case, looking good with our rear drive shaft in, connected. That's all nice, as the lines. Now sadly I ran out of charge, so I didn't get to show you exhausts are nice and painted. They're just drying right now, so I've got to be careful not to walk into them. Gearbox is on with clutch and everything. We're using the same clutch as prior because, well, they're expensive, and this one was in perfect condition. It looked fine, so that's just going back on. So they're mated once again. Probably need to clean this intake manifold. Then at the rear here, I got the tank in and just connected that line because I wanted to. And new bolt in there because I snapped the old one. But yeah, tank's in, looks good. There's that contrast between gloss and matte, which I quite like. I'm very happy with it. So tomorrow, engine goes in, then once the steering assembly arrives, that goes in, and then we will drop it down on these big boys. Yeah, and we'll get back to you tomorrow. Alright, so there we have it. The engine is on. She's looking nice and shiny. Looking good with our new water pump and everything. It's in gear, so I can't spin everything, but drive shafts are on and everything is on, spinning nice. So now I guess we'll just go over this stuff with a wire brush and clean all this up, and we'll probably take the carby off and clean that up nice. And then I've got some cloth tape coming in to get the wiring loom all nice and fixed. And then again, just this steering assembly, which would be a pain in the tuchus. But yeah, it's all on, looking sweet. So yeah, I'll just jump to some cool montage, slow-mo, whatever the hell shots of this thing looking nice and schmick. Alright, so it's a new day, new dawn. I just spent a little time polishing these bits up for the steering assembly. So that's for the tie rod ends. We have this arm brand new. I believe it's from Four Drive Parts Shop again, so big thank you to them. And then the tie rods, which I showed earlier, they're looking nice. And then new boots for tie rod ends and everything that we are reusing, because so I just painted this up again. So you can see these boots will go on there because it needs new boots, so that's nice. So yeah, I just got those two there painted up. Then I'll drop that there. Quickly come around to the rear. Got the number plate, holder, holster, whatever you want to call it, in. And then we've got this rear toe point and recovery point for us in too. That'll end up getting a D shackle on it, which will look mighty fine. But yeah, so that's on, it's looking good. Now it's just steering assembly, and then we'll be ready to drop it on its wheels. Alright, so I'm just getting onto this steering arm now. So this is the arm that goes from the steering box, so that attachment in there to here, which I'm not sure if I put that in upside down. So what I need to do is get those ball joints in there, greased up here and here, and then put the new boots on. So all I do is I do a finger full of grease, pack it into there, so. Alright, so I don't have much space on my SIM card left, so I'm just going to keep stopping and starting. So now that we've got this arm in, we can see that if I turn this, that turns there. that's part of our steering mechanism done. Then I think I'm going to either get the steering dampener in. Alright, so we just had to cut down this connector bar that we got brand new. So it came a bit long, so what we did was we had to cut it down. So we measured it and then put some tape on it. The tape's good there so that you can just follow that nice line. But if we then pull the tape off, you'll notice that we've got a nut on there. Alright, so when you're bringing the nut off, having the nut on there is good, because once it comes off, I'll probably need something a bit better for it, it will clean up the thread. So that way we have a nice clean thread for the tie rod to go back onto. I'm tightening it. So now that we've done this, the thread is nice and clean, and it should be a lot nicer. Instead of just having that straight cut there, it'll be a lot nicer and a lot easier to put everything back on. So that's a little handy tip. If you're cutting thread, always put a nut on it and then pull it back off, so that way you keep your thread nice and clean. Alright, so we finally got the steering assembly on. So we had to cut this rod down. So that's brand new. This one here, and this one here. Thank you to Suzuki Parts Shop. Sorry, not Suzuki. Suzy Store and 4-wheel drive parts shop for sending that out to us, along with the new tie rod ends. So if I walk over here, and I showed you a shot before, it steers. We have steering. It's a bit like, it needs to get in alignment, which it will get in alignment, don't worry about that. It looks like as if it's a bit toe outy right now, but everything's on, mostly tight. Again, needs to get in alignment, but now is finally time to put the wheels back on, and we're not putting those old bar treads on. We've got our lovely big tyres to go on, and then we'll get it out of the garage for the first time in a long time, on its wheels, sitting in the cloudy sun. Alright, so here in front of us we have the whole loom. So it's a bit dirty at the moment, but I don't think I'm going to actually clean it. I think I'm just going to go over and wrap it. So what we're going to do is wrap it. So we've got Car Builder's cloth tape here. So we'll just go through and wrap over this. This is my first time wrapping a loom, so don't expect show quality work. But yeah, we'll get this nice and wrapped, and then hopefully once it goes back on the car, it will look a million times better. Right, so that's the whole loom wrapped. I decided that where there was tape and where there were wires that split, so that splits there, like that splits there, that I'd leave it unwrapped just in case I need sort of a large gap for when the loom does go on. But when the loom does go back on, I will then go and wrap it. But yeah, I'd also wouldn't wrap it where there was already previously tape from the manufacturer and where there was stuff like this. Where there is tape, I will wipe it down with something just to get it to look a lot cleaner than it already is. But yeah, Car Builder's cloth tape works a bloody treat. Right, so update on the engine. We cleaned a bunch of this stuff. So alternator's been cleaned. We're just going to reuse it. It's also had the wheel and its fan repainted, which looks nice. I put this bracket back on, which I think I'm going to take off and paint again because I'm not happy with it. Starter motor is on, so is the Dizzy. We do have new points to go in there, so we might put them in at some point. Carby was taken off and cleaned with Carby cleaner, which I didn't film for some dumb reason. So yeah, that's all nice and clean. Intake manifold was just given a brush over, and so that's really good. I think I showed taking the Carby off, so that's nice. All this is coming back together, so yeah, it's good. The engine's all coming back together. I've got air cleaner and everything to go on here, and I think a couple more brackets to go on, and then we'll be laughing. Right, so here we have our air box cleaner, whatever you want to call it. So these are all nicely been sanded and painted. There is our completed LJ50 chassis. Don't mind the bike leaning up against it. But yeah, I'm really happy with what I got done, what we got done. It is a million times better than what we had. Turned a piece of trash into treasure, as they like to say. But yeah, I'm beyond stoked. Now, in terms of upcoming videos, as we speak, the body has gone off to get sandblasted, so there's heaps more content coming. So make sure, if you want to see that, like, comment down below and subscribe. That'd do me a huge solid. But yeah, thank you for watching. More content coming, more Zook stuff. I know you guys like it. I love it too. I'm really stoked with this. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.